Hey guys, welcome to another video. This is Max from the server 133. Previously it was 147. We merged with 133. Now I'm part of server 133. So let me showcase some of these generals to you. This entire video is about quality of general, which general to buy, what not to buy. Now you can see this is where you can get a general from your tavern. This is where you can buy a general from. So the white generals are the common generals. Then there's a green general. Then there is which is uncommon. Then there is blue, which is excellent. Then there is purple, which is legendary. Then there's golden, which is epic or historic. Now, how do you understand if that general should be bought or not? Simply, I will just refresh for a while so that I can show you some general. Now we have got Mr. Andrew Jackson right here. Andrew Jackson, you can see there is a helmet next to his name. This is a throne. Basically this declares that this general is a historic general or a legendary or an epic general. Whereas if you compare with any other general, you see the frame is normal. There is nothing around the frame. The frame can be of golden color, but when you come to a historic general, you see there is a throne next to the name. There is a kind of a throne kind of a thing on the dot, plus there is a throne on the general frame. Now we'll also compare. I'm not going to go for Andrew Jackson. I already have him. As you can see, he has been recruited in the past. I'm sure I have him, so I'm not going to spend gold on that. And I'm going to refresh. See, I got one more golden general, but this does not have a throne around him. Plus there is no throne next to his name. There is no throne on the dot as well. Now this clears that you may not or you shouldn't buy this general for sure, because it's not going to help you. This is just an ordinary general. Now we are going to compare a golden general of common type versus a golden general of historic or legendary. So first is you have no special skills. You have only 3 speciality but no special skills. When you go into the portraits, you see a general that has a throne will have a special skill too, and if it's a golden it will have 4 specialities. If it's a purple, will have 3 specialities. Now if it's a purple general but is a legendary or epic or historic, the general will of course have a throne and a special skill. Now if you read, Joan of Arc has mounted troops HP by 35% when general is leading the army. That makes this general for boss hunting. Now there are so many generals. I will request or I would recommend that when you have free time, you open up the generals and you read about them. It gives you a good idea about what general to go for, what are the specialities and everything. But don't worry, this video is going to be a bit long. I'll be covering some of these special generals. I'll also be giving you some recommendations which you should buy, which you should not buy, and use them accordingly. Now first general category that I'll be talking is about player versus player. But before I speak more about them, there are 2 basically types of generals that you see in the portraits in your tavern. One of them is a general that you can recruit, like the one that I have recruited. These are the ones that I have recruited. And one category of general that you cannot get are the premium generals, which you get from event packages, purchases and all. So there are a lot of ways you can get premium generals. There are some generals that you get on completing events, like there is Mehmet 2 you get on completing the King's Path. You get there is one more, you get the Undead general on completing the Undead Invasion event. Again it's on luck. Some of these generals you get. Then there is the general Raged King, which you get in Wheel of Fortune. You also get the general Princess Lucy in Wheel of Fortune. Now these are some of the types of generals. So first let's talk about player versus player, PvP. PvP is a category wherein you should always look for a general that has the bonus of siege, range, maybe ground, maybe mounted. But I always recommend for siege and range. Again, it is dependent on what sort of enemy you have. So you should always have one general of each category. One general for range, one for ground, one for siege, one for mounted. Again, there are generals that have multiple buffs and debuffs. So I'll give you an example. Edward the Black Prince is a general that I prefer for playing PvP, because when I'm attacking the enemy with Edward the Black Prince, It increases your ranged troops attack by 25% and reduces enemy mounted troop attack by 15% when general is leading the army. So this is the wow factor of Edward the Black Prince. One of the generals that you can get from the tavern and you should buy, or I would say you should recruit. There is Gustavus Adolphus, very similar, reduces enemy range troop and siege machine defense by 15% and increases your range troops and siege machine attack by 15% when general is leading the army. Now such generals are player versus player generals. You can even open up and read their speciality, so you'll have a much better idea whether to go for this general or not. Now specialities unlock as and when you get your general to level 25. So I think I should be able to showcase one general which is not level 25. For example, Charles Martel. If I try to tap speciality, it says speciality unlocks at general level 25. But if I show you any of my level 25 general, for example Martinus, the speciality is unlocked and I can just simply spend a bit of the gems and work on the speciality too. We'll cover that in a different video. I've also made a video about placing the right skills for your general. Again, that is dependent on your gameplay, your game style. I give the siege range troop skills to the general, and I give the siege machine equipment or siege machine weapons to the general. Right now I keep the general completely empty when I don't use it, so that my general does not flash on the screen, which is at the ranking. There's a reason not to do that, kind of, if you're playing SVS, you want your general to be hidden from the enemy and not to flash your name. Just a random idea. I'm not that strong to do that at the moment, but I would want to do that. Now the second category of general that I like to cover is a boss hunting general. Any general that has mounted troop attack, mounted troop defense, mounted troop HP or march size. For killing bosses you need cavalries, which are mounted troop that you can train in your stable. It is recommended to have mounted troops. They give a bonus advantage on the bosses because of their HP, because of their defense and the attack. If you compare the HP of a cavalry is 19,000, if you compare the HP of a range troop is 6,000, HP of a ground troop is 15,000. So you understand the HP, the attack and the defense, that is very high on the mounted troops. So we use a mounted troop, gives you the benefit of killing bosses. Advantage, not benefit, but advantage over killing bosses. Now there are a lot of these generals. If you look into the tavern and keep browsing around, you will find some of these generals that give you good buff over mounted troops. For example, I think, yes, Roland is a general, increases mounted troops attack by 30%, increases mounted troops defense and HP by 15% when general is leading the army to attack. So if you use him, it gives you a great advantage for killing bosses. There are many such generals that you can also recruit. For example, we have got Washington. You can recruit him from your tavern if you like to kill bosses. One thing that you need to understand, that any golden general that pops up on your tavern should not be bought. When you see the general hall, you can understand which general you need to purchase and which general you should not. Sorry, purchase is not the right word, recruit is the right word. Which general you should recruit, which general you should not recruit, that you can understand by looking at your general hall. These, when they unlock, they give you some buff, they give you some benefits, which is really helpful into your art treasures. You can see these buffs that have been activated, that is depending on the generals that you hold. So it's necessary to understand how to activate these buffs and what all you need to activate these buffs. Right, now going further, speaking about generals, the third category I'll be covering is gathering generals. So in the game there are basically 5 gathering generals. The first one is a one that you get for free when you start the game. They give you a purple general which has the skill. Every culture has the same skill, it's just the general has a different frame and different details. So this one says increases mounted troops attack by 20% and resource amount from the resource spots on the world map by 15% general is leading the army. I was previously using Jin Yuxin for killing bosses, but then later I decided to use him for gathering, so I've given him a gathering skills. So this is the first general that you get for free and you use it for killing bosses or for gathering. Moving on to the second general that you can use for gathering, you also get that for free. which is the General Attila. Now Attila is a multi-purpose general. He is not just for gathering, he is for gathering and for plundering. So if you are going to attack an enemy and you don't have a huge troop load, you use Attila, because that troop load bonus is going to let you steal a good amount of resource from the enemy, and after certain level, resources is what you need on the highest number. Like, good amount of resources are needed if you want to grow your keep. Another general, a higher version of Attila, is Amir Temur, that you can get from your tavern. Gives you 100% load. So I use Amir Temur for plundering and not for gathering. Of course, when I have time, I have free marches, I send him to gather as well. It's like if I'm going to bed, I send out 5 marches to gather, make sure to check my truce, and then 5 marches are gathering at level 15 or level 14. Sorry, level 14. 14 is the highest, or level 14 resource spots, and they come back in 5-6 hours with a good resource and a good bonus too. One more gathering general that you get in the game, which is by the Wheel of Fortune, is Princess Lucy. Increases resource gathering speed by 15% when generals leading the army. She also gets a gathering speed bonus in the specialty. But again, I have a Princess Lucy, but I'm going to sell her because I don't really gather gems, and my other generals have a better politics for gathering, so I use them. A must-have general for gathering is, in the Korean culture, Queen Jindeok. My dear friends, if you get time, please read this general, the specialty, study the general. This is an amazing general, gives you 40% extra from the resource world map resource spots and 20% resource from the alliance resource spots when general is leading the army. This is a beautiful general that you should go for. I have, in my account, I have got 3 Queen Jindeoks. In fact, let me show you, they're currently even gathering for me. Princess Lucy, one of my Queen Jindeoks, is over here. You see the gathering speed? And if I activate my buff right now for the gathering, not this one, it is 218,000 per hour with a bonus of 1.248 million per hour. So the total that is getting gathered is approximately 1.45 million per hour. So that is 1,450,000 ore per hour is the gathering speed of my general. I have worked on the politics. Now the next category I would like to showcase is called the subordinate city general. Now in sub city there are again 2 types. One is a debuff general and one is a development general. So first let's talk about development general. So Charles the Great is one of the sub-city development general. Boosts the gold production speed by 75% in subordinate city when general is the mayor. You have, in America, you have Mr. Lincoln, which is a sub-city general. You also have Jefferson, a sub-city general. In Japan, you have, I am not able to pronounce his name, Yusigi Kenshin, Mr. Kenshin is again a sub-city general. Then we have, I can't pronounce the Japanese name. Any of you Japanese guys watching the video, I'm so sorry. Teach me if you get time. I will learn the pronunciation. Even he is a sub-city general. You can see boost the gold production speed by 75% in the subordinate city. Korea has King Shijong, that was an easy name, as a sub-city general. China has Empress Wu as the sub-city general, I'm sure. Let me just double check. Yes, sub-city general. There is also Zhong Liang as I'm so sorry guys for bad pronunciation of your names. If any one of you has the names, please help me in the pronunciation. I can get over a voice call on the Line app and I can talk to you guys. If you speak English, it'll be much better for me too. Now the second category of sub-city general, which is the debuff generals. So these are the generals that you place on your subordinate city and they apply debuff on the enemy. So for example, in America we have Andrew Jackson, in Europe we have Nero, in others we have Empress, Doger 6C. Now these are the generals that you can recruit. There are also the premium generals that I said you get from the events, out of which Arminus is one of them that you can have. It'll give you a debuff on all the categories. Now one good news is the game has started this thing called as Great General Chest, which you get to open once in 2 days. You also get general shreds or fragments over here. Plus when you complete your activities to level to the last level 145 points, you get a key of conscription that can be used this item to open the Great General Chest in tavern. Now these are few of the things that can help you. Now this is something that I'll be covering in the very short while. These are some of the specialty generals. Now when we speak about specialty generals, these are the generals that if you get, you must never sell. It's a must have or a recommended generals, and I'm going to talk about them with the culture. So let's speak for the culture Europe. We have John 1 of Portugal. Increases the range troops attack, defense and HP by 5% and range troops training speed by 20% when general is the archer camp officer. If you get him, put him on your archer camp on duty, he'll make your archer camp training speed 20% and will give a buff on your archer troops too. Moving on, there is Skenderbeg. I can't find him. Yes, Skenderbeg increases hospital capacity by 25% when general is the hospital officer. So this is the duty officer. You should put him on the hospital. The next general that I won't say it's a must have, but if you use him, increases your hospital capacity by 30% when general is the main city defense general. Now I'll tell you the use of this general. You do not place him for defending while you're playing in a PvP, but you place him on defending while you are attacking an enemy. What happens is when you're attacking an enemy, your troops are going to get killed or wounded. So at that time, if you have Richard the Lionheart on your hospital, he is going to be sending out a majority of your wounded troops in the hospital because you have a 30% hospital increase capacity. So in case if you have an attack lost with a March size buff, your troops will not be killed, your troops will be hospitalized. Of course you lose the troops, you get your troops killed because of the enemy general politics and a lot of other things that come into the picture. But if you use this general while you are attacking, it is going to give you a 30% hospital bonus. Another specialty general for using on the wall. Now in America, my favorite is Nathaniel Green. I don't have him, I want to recruit him. Reduces your stamina cost by 25% when general is leading the army to attack monsters. So if you're joining rallies with Nathaniel Green, you are going to be saving a lot of stamina. You can put a bird of hurricane, you can give him a ring, you can give him the luck level 4. That'll give you good double drop chances, almost 51% of double drop chances with Nathaniel Green when you give the luck skills, the ring and the bird of hurricane, and you already are saving 25% of stamina. So if you're joining bosses of B12, B13 and maybe higher bosses, you are saving a lot of stamina. The next general must have that I will give you is from the culture Korea. Guan Rule, RYUL Rule. Guan Rule gives you the 5% of attack, defense, HP, siege machine and the siege training speed by 20% when general is the workshop officer. Then there is one more general, Yulji Mundyok, that increases your research speed by 20% when general is the academy officer. So if you get him, place him, don't hesitate. The next one, I have already covered this. Queen Jindyok is your gathering general, specialty in gathering. Go for it, it's a must have. 40% bonus is not less. There is the next general in the culture China is Ban Chao. This is a tower officer. You should place him on the tower. Reduces enemy mounted troops attack by 20% and increases your in-city range troops attack by 20% when general is the archer tower officer. Recommended. If you get him, take it. It's a what do we say, a premium general, but don't miss out. Moving further, in Russia there is Dimitri that you can get from your tavern. It's a reinforcement general, but I don't recommend using him for reinforcing. I recommend using a debuff general, because that applies a debuff while you're reinforcing. If you don't have strong troops, you are going to be sending only 100,000 troops. Send them with a debuff general, not with Dimitri. But if you're a strong player, let's say a K35 with T14 troops, you can use Dimitri for reinforcing, because that's going to give you increases the ground troop defense and HP by 20% and range troop attack by 30%. The next general that we look at is from Russia. Menshkov increases your construction speed by 20% when it's a keep officer. Oleg of Novgorod, that is for your stables, increases your 5% of HP, defense and attack when general is the stable officer, and also increases mounted troop training speed by 20%. Yes, a must have if you can get him. The next one is in Arabia. Baibars, you can get Baibars, 25% of double drop. I have got 2 of these. Go for it when you see him. If you need to sell a general to buy him, go for it. Double drop is worth it. For 20 stamina, if you're getting 2 boxes of 8-hour speed up on B10, go for it. Next is Sharjah Al-Dur. Place her on the wall. If your truce is up, you are safe. Place her on the wall. Gives you 100% resource production speed, and also your upkeep is protected. If you get Abdul Al Rahman, go for him. It's a barracks officer, barracks duty officer. Increases the ground troops attack, defense, HP 5% and training speed 20%. Another must have. Then there is one general that you find in others category. Askia Mohammed reduces the gem and resource cost of siege machine repairing, and 15% increase in the in-city siege machine attack by repairing. It reduces the cost by 15% and increases in-city siege machine attack by 25% when general is the trap factory officer. So these are some of the generals that I would say must have. There are some of the generals that I haven't covered due to lack of time, but if you ever want to go for a debuff general, go for them. In for the sub cities, PvP is range, siege, maybe mounted, maybe ground. With this I conclude the video. My name is Max Duel. You can write the name, copy the name and write me an email if you have a question. I will answer you those. If you have more videos that you want me to cover, more topics that you want me to cover, feel free to get in touch with me. I will be really happy to help you out. With this, once again, I thank you all for watching the video. It has been long, but I've tried to cover maximum that I can. For more questions, get in touch with me. You will find me on server 133. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.